from No Joke NHL, here with our Eastern Conference playoff previews as promised. And again, we're going to start with the same format that we started before. We're going to start with the 1-8 matchup and then work our way through to the 4-5. So the 1-8 matchup, of course, Pittsburgh Penguins, #1 seed in the East versus the New York Islanders, #8 in the East as well. And so looking at these two teams, of course, the Penguins, tremendous year. Looking at their schedule, really have only had 2-game losing streaks throughout the season, several winning streaks throughout the season. So certainly a solid top-to-bottom performance for them through this season. I still kind of think that they're going to have a little bit of issue at goaltender. We still have Marc-Andre Fleury. We saw how the Flyers were able to exploit them last year in the playoffs and to get to dispose of them pretty quickly. And without any changes there, they bring in Vukun as the backup, and I'm not sure he's really the answer either. So the big question mark for me with Pittsburgh is going to be the goaltending. And if they face a team that has a lot of offense to shower them with, then I kind of think they're a little vulnerable. That being said, I don't think the New York Islanders are going to be the team to push with them. However, earlier, before this season, for whatever reason, the Islanders and Pittsburgh did play a lot of one-goal games. Now, granted, Pittsburgh, dominated most of those games, but they still were one-goal games. And, when you're winning by just one-goal margins, like I said, it could be a bounce of a puck here, a bounce of a puck there. So, we've seen several crazy things happen in the Stanley Cup playoffs. I'm not suggesting that the Islanders would do that. I certainly wouldn't even be on them at, plus 350 or whatever they are right now on the spread. Of course, Pittsburgh, a prohibitive favorite in, the matchups in Pittsburgh and for the series. So, for me, this is a little too pricey for me to, even contemplate here. But, depending on how the Islanders come out and play, I may be able to jump in if I see something that looks deficient here. But top to bottom, Pittsburgh looks pretty solid. Now that being said, I would have to be inclined to say that the East is a step down from the West. As far as the quality of teams. The West teams were all clumped together, relatively close with the exception of the Blackhawks. And the East are, somewhat relatively clumped together. I know Pittsburgh rose, to the top of the heap, but are they rising to the top of the heap of a bunch of solid teams, or are they rising to the top of the heap of, a bunch of inferior teams that, that can be exploited? So I kind of look as the West as a little stronger, and of course Pittsburgh very dominant on this thing. They should be getting Sidney Crosby back. If he's not back for the opener, he probably should be playing at some time in this first round, or maybe not. If they could probably get by and give him a rest. If they're up 2-0 in the series and he still hasn't come back, they probably would rest him and then bring him back if they absolutely needed. But I do see Pittsburgh getting by here. Even the price for a sweep at plus 458 is not really worth it to me. So I'm just gonna again sit on the sidelines, watch something here. If I see something going on here that I could possibly exploit, then maybe I would. Maybe to be honest with you, maybe a New York Islanders over their team total, something along those lines might make some sense here. As of course the Islanders don't have to win; they can still lose 5-3 and cover a number like that. So that's probably the angle I'm going to look at for this series right here. But as far as betting a series or predicting a winner, I mean, I would almost have to hands down say Pittsburgh would do it. But I'm not ready to just crown them as the next Stanley Cup champions or even coming out of the East for sure. So with that brings us to the end of the 1-8 matchup, and I'll be back with the other one shortly. So as always, let's make some money.